Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse.
Hey, you've done it. You beat the first 3 bosses, you dropped the Great Wall. You're finally out of the early game, and it's time to start tackling the Titans. First on the list is the winged Titan, Azeos. That's not going to sound nearly as impressive as I want it to, so let's try that again. Azeos. Azeos can be a chaotic fight that requires a lot of movement, so having gear that improves your movement speed can be helpful here. You will obviously also benefit from stacking damage gear, as the quicker the fight is over, the less you have to worry about. If your average item level is around 10 to 13, you should be fine in most cases. If you don't want to deal with finding new gear, you can always use the newly available upgrade bench to upgrade your existing pre-wall gear to a higher level. Iron armor and ranger armor benefit from this level up pretty heavily and can continue to contribute and be useful well throughout the wilderness. Melee users will find that scarlet armor is a pretty good upgrade though. Magic users, unfortunately, you're probably going to want to just level up your existing gear, since at least at the time of this recording, there's not a lot of good mid-game options for casters. Shields are very useful against Azeos as they block his beam attack, and the Rift Lens is also useful because it lets you teleport past the beams. Polished jewelry from the advanced jewelry workbench is also pretty solid. I recommend checking out the options there for your rings and your necklaces. If you have a poisonous sickle or blowgun, their ability to poison Azeos will negate his healing powers, and that makes him so much easier. Use one of those 2 weapons if you have them. At this point, you should have a crafting skill well into the 80s, if not completely maxed out, so that you can craft polished jewelry. You're also going to want your combat skills to be above 50, as well as your vitality. If you haven't started working your gardening or cooking skills yet, now is the time to do so, as getting golden crops and epic food can turn the Azeos fight from a challenge to a cakewalk. Also, don't forget your fishing. Even though the skills in there aren't necessarily the most important thing, you're going to want to have your fishing skill at least 30 or 40 so that you can fish in all the various fishing water holes that exist and are available to you now. Depending on your build, you may have some specific food buffs that differ. However, there are a variety of foods that are going to be good for any build. When it comes to crops, I can recommend the following. Golden crops are ideal for cooking stronger versions of buff food. Whatever crop you're using, use golden crops whenever possible. The Pafungi reduces damage taken from bosses, and if you use the golden version, you'll also deal extra damage to bosses. What's not to love about this thing? The bloat oat provides the biggest hit point regeneration of any food. And since it's so generic, you can use this with pretty much any of your other foods and combine them for a pretty good buff that you won't have to worry about overlapping or overwriting any buffs from. Dodo eggs enhance the healing over time effects that you get, so if you have the right skill on your vitality tree, your healing potions will also be doing healing over time, and at that point, these dodo eggs will enhance your healing potions as well. With the wall down, you can unlock any fishing environment. This opens the door to some of the best buff foods. If you can secure some lava, some shimmering water, and some ocean water early, bring it back to your base, and then you can catch dragonfish, anglefish, dartfish, a variety of additional fish that are just going to make your buffs so much stronger. Check out my food video specifically for all of the details on various combinations of food that you're going to need depending on what kind of class you're playing. If you enjoy these videos, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to stay on top of the latest from my channel. Additionally, if you want to go that extra mile and join as a channel member, you will earn my undying love. I do this channel in my free time, and your support goes a long way to help me someday turn this into a full-time gig. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to the video. None of the combat pets give you any special advantage in the Azeos fight, so personally, I think that the Owlux is probably the best pet here since it's going to buff your character, and that includes a movement speed buff, which is very helpful here. Though, truthfully, any pet that you have will work just fine. If you speak to the Awakened Core, it will tell you the direction of the wilderness biome. But don't mistake this as the directions to Azeos, because they're not. If you want to know Azeos' exact location, purchase a scanner from the ancient hologram pod. This will reveal exactly where the boss is located. Alternatively, if you can't afford it, you can search the wilderness at a distance of about 500-550 tiles away from the core. Azeos Arena will be somewhere nearby. When you find the arena, you will notice Azeos' shadow as he flies overhead. He won't come down until you summon him. The large, shiny, glimmering object will summon Azeos, and this is crafted at the ancient hologram pod as well. Now take some time to fill in the gap surrounding Azeos' arena. He will sometimes teleport to the other side of the gap, and unless you're using ranged, it can be difficult when he does this. He can also summon crystals on the other side of the gap, and again, you're not going to be able to get to them unless you fill this gap in, so you're going to want to fill it in. Be sure to bring your best pickaxe and hotkey your mining suit just in case, because Azeos creates these crystals that need to be broken or he will use them to heal himself. You're going to want a mining damage of around 320 or so to break them. And a word of caution, if Azeos kills you and you respawn more than about 50 tiles away, he will despawn, and you will need to create a new summoning idol in order to spawn him again. To prevent this, you're going to want to place a bed nearby. However, be careful. You'll want to place the bed around 30 tiles or so away from Azeos because his beam attacks leave the arena that you're fighting in, and they can easily break the bed if it's too close. You're going to want to give yourself some space. Azeos attacks by shooting electrical beams from his body in various patterns. One pattern is a horizontal line that moves up or down the screen. Another is a vertical line that moves across the screen left to right. Now, there's also a circular pattern that will start on the outer edge of the screen and close in toward the boss. But it has a single beam that will be missing so that you can escape from it if you're fast enough. Finally, there's a chaotic burst of beams that go in a variety of directions. This one is the hardest to dodge, and it is often best just blocked with a shield or teleported through with a rift lens. Azeos teleports around the room himself, shooting his energy beams, then teleporting to another spot. Having a higher movement speed here helps so that you don't spend all of your time just chasing the teleporting bird around. Azeos will also spawn multiple blue crystals. These crystals can heal Azeos when they are charged up by his beam attack. You will know that they are healing him because a line of energy will arc from the crystal to Azeos. If Azeos is poisoned, then these crystals will be practically useless. However, if he's not, and around 4 or more crystals are healing him, your damage will likely not be able to keep up with the healing. The crystals can be broken though. Grab your pickaxe and hit them at least 3 times to break them. Azeos will enrage at 40% health. His teleporting becomes more frequent and his attack speed increases as well. He'll also summon extra crystals when he spawns them. Now, you'll want to dodge or block all of Azeos' beam attacks, and then focus on burning him down as quickly as possible. If he is poisoned, you can ignore the blue crystals, but if not, you'll want to keep the crystals down to no more than 3 on the battlefield at a time. If you die and your bed is nearby, you can rush back into the fight and keep it going. Unlike earlier fights, you won't need to kite the boss around because you can't control his movements at all. And you won't need to kite around or control any ads. The name of the game here is dodge and DPS. All right, let's take a close look at Azeos' loot table. First of all, he's always going to drop a Titan's chest because that's what holds the loot. The very first time you kill him, he's also going to grant you the Soul of Azeos. This is a new ability that you'll find, and I'm going to caution you, if you're not used to the Soul of Azeos power, turn it off whenever you're in your base. You will thank me. Trust me. Don't leave that on. He's also always going to drop the Pile of Chum. The Pile of Chum is a new NPC summoning idol. It will bring you the Fisherman NPC. Now, when it comes to his general loot table, we've got a variety of just basic items like ancient gemstones, various ores. He's got the broken handle, which is something that's very useful at this point in the game, as the broken handle is one of the ingredients for the rune song. If you haven't gotten a broken handle yet, here's one of the bosses that drops it. Some of his other items include the Azeos Beak Necklace, the Sky Ring, the Ancient Pickaxe, and Azeos' Dash Feather. Now, the Dash Feather is a significant upgrade from the Swift Feather, so if the Swift Feather is one of your favorite offhand items, you're going to replace it with the Dash Feather. The Ancient Pickaxe is pretty good too, and is something that even if you don't want to actually use it for mining, then you're going to at least want to hold on to one of them because it's going to come in handy in the desert. The Wild Warden Pauldrons really aren't that bad. You can get them in other ways, but they're really only useful if you're going for a pet build. Additionally, Azeos also drops the full set of the Corrupt Warden armor. This is one of the only mid-game summoning or even magic using in general suits. And so if you're looking to upgrade your caster, then this is going to be one of the only kind of decent suits that exist at this time. Although, to be honest with you, I personally find that the ones you get earlier in the game are a little bit better, but these are pretty good too. The Sun Collar drops off of Azeos. This is a staff that I'm personally not a big fan of. Is it powerful? Yes, but it does this explosive energy damage that can actually damage your base. It can also hurt you if you're in close enough proximity, or it can hurt your friends as well. So you want to be really, really careful when you're using the Sun Collar, because if you use it wrong, you can cause a lot of chaos for yourself. The Tome of Pestilence drops off of Azeos as well, and this is a pretty good summoning tome. I highly recommend getting your hands on at least one of these. When Azeos dies, he will leave a soul orb behind that floats in the air. This orb lasts for 5 minutes. During that time, you cannot respawn Azeos. Once the soul fades, a 20-second timer starts. After that timer ends, you can resummon Azeos with a new egg. So, if you want the too long did not read, the orb goes away after 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and then you can respawn him. Unlike the slime bosses, which break spike traps as they move, Azeos does not break the spike traps. Therefore, you can fill his arena with spike traps to make things go quicker for you. You can also place some purple ground slime beneath the large shiny glimmering object, so that when you spawn Azeos, he will be immediately poisoned, even if you don't have a poison weapon. You gotta be quick though, because the poison will only last for about 30 seconds or so. Unfortunately, there isn't any quick, easy, insta-kill kind of cheese for this boss. They've done a pretty good job of making sure that he's pretty well balanced and under control, but there are definitely ways that you can make the fight easier for yourself. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, and if you are feeling really generous, please join us on Patreon or become a YouTube member. Your support means the world to me, and I can't do it without you. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, stay crazy.